Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, I'm definitely not an evangelist, so what could God possibly use me for? If you've ever believed that serving God only belongs to the people behind the pulpit, I want to challenge that assumption because it's not biblical. Yes, scripture tells us that some people are called to be apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. Those are gifts Christ gives to equip the church. But notice what comes next. Their job is to equip the saints for the work of ministry. That's you. The mistake many Christians make is assuming that because they're not called to lead the church, they aren't called to participate in God's mission. Nothing could be further from the truth. Before Jesus ascended into heaven, he didn't tell only pastors to make disciples. He told his followers. The mission belongs to every believer. The assignments, however, look different. That's where many people get confused. We spend so much time comparing our calling to someone else's that we neglect the gifts God has already placed in our own hearts. Paul describes the church as a body. An eye isn't better than a hand. A foot isn't less important than an ear. Each part has a unique purpose, and the body only functions properly when every part of that body works together for what it was created to do. Think about your own body. Your thumb doesn't wake up every morning wishing it were an eye. It doesn't try to hear like an ear or walk like a foot. It simply does what it was designed to do. And because it does, the whole body benefits. So why do we do the opposite? Why do we assume that if our ministry looks like someone else's or doesn't look like someone else's, it must not matter? Maybe your gift isn't preaching. Maybe it's hospitality. Maybe it's encouragement. Maybe it's generosity. Maybe it's wisdom. Maybe it's administration. Maybe it's creating businesses that fund kingdom work. Maybe it's mentoring one person at a time. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's creating videos that help people understand God's truth. The question isn't whether you're called. The question is whether you're trying to imitate someone else's assignment instead of stewarding your own. Comparison has convinced many believers they're disqualified when in reality they're simply misaligned. God never asked you to become someone else. He asked you to be faithful with what he entrusted to you. That's why discovering your God-given design matters so much. When you understand how God uniquely wired you, you stop chasing someone else's platform and start embracing your own assignment. And here's something I've learned. The people who make the greatest kingdom impact usually aren't trying to be impressive. They're simply being faithful. Faithful where God has placed them, faithful with the gifts he has given them, faithful to the opportunities already in front of them. So, before you ask, why wasn't I called to be doing what they're doing? Ask a better question. Lord, what have you already placed in my hands that I'm overlooking because I'm focused on someone else's calling? That question changes everything. You see, I work with Christians who need biblical clarity while they're still in the middle of life storms, and one of the most common areas of confusion is calling. People often think they're waiting for God to give them a different assignment when he's actually inviting them to faithfully steward the one he's already revealed. If this gave you biblical clarity, share it with someone who's been questioning whether God can really use them. And if you want to understand one of the biggest reasons people spend their lives chasing the wrong calling, watch my video called The Hidden Need for Significance. It may reveal what you've been calling a search for purpose when it's actually a search for significance.